Global Business Report on Arise News. National Food Security Council says the rising cost of foodstuff in the country is partly due to bulk purchases of food commodities from COVID-19 palliatives. At the end of the council's meeting at the presidential villa, the governor of Jigawa State, Abubakar Badaru, who represents the Northwest in the council, told the media that the coalition against COVID-19, as well as the federal and state governments, were all involved in the bulk purchase of food items to distribute as coronavirus palliatives, leading to increased costs. However, he did say there's hope that the situation will change because the harvest season has begun and more commodities are arriving at the markets. The council assured Nigerians that despite the flood disasters in parts of the country this year, there will be no food crisis, and to boost food production, President Buhari has ordered a reduction in the price of fertilizer by 500 naira. Let's take a listen.
Produce get expensive, food get expensive, because all the stock have started going down, and even the farmers that keep some to eat have probably exhausted and they have to go to the market and buy. So the demand is becoming higher. And this is also exacerbated because of the fact of that there is bulk buying by Kakubit, by most of the state. He bought a lot to distribute at palliative. He bought a lot in the state to distribute at palliative, and we bought a lot. States are buying, federal government is buying, Kakobit is buying, all at the same time in the same market.
Today, NEMA and finance, the development finance banks, the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, NISAL, the Nigeria Export-Import Bank, all made presentations, and all of them have a big role in food security because their mandate involves either primary production or processing of food.
Business analyst Chika Mbonu joins me to discuss this and more. There's so much. Chika, it's all agricultural conversation. You're very welcome. So I think we had the inflation chart there year on year, but your thoughts on what was just said?
Okay, I mean, the governor said that because of the bulk purchase of food, and that's what led to the increase in prices. So I've been trying to understand, break down that statement to understand it fully. Because I mean, okay, if I buy, for my house, for example, if I buy bulk, what I'm buying bulk means I will not buy again for some time. So I wonder how that will, if I'm not going to the market to go and buy,
right, how
that will lead to, increasing food prices. I thought the bulk purchase was for people to distribute to people, so the people will have food, enough food for the difficult times.
Right.
So they won't have to go and buy again. So I wonder how that will lead to the food price increase. I think down the line he corrected himself. He actually gave the real reason that we are in the planting season. So we're the off season for agriculture. And once harvest starts very soon, new supplies will enter the market and moderate the food prices. You know already that food inflation is above 16%, and which is a major driver for inflation in Nigeria. And that's for us. That's the issue.
Right. And can you help us out? You also you've been on the show before. You've discussed or rather defined demand pull versus cost push inflation. If you can again,
because one definition of inflation says when too much money is purchasing too few goods. That's one definition of it. But you see, it can hold that as a constant, the quantity of money. But look at the supply side. The supply side now has to do with the fact that how much food do we really have in the country? What are the supply chain problems that we have? There's a border closure that issue, because it's still controversial. I keep saying that one thing that we're not gotten right in this country is the fact that what's the effective demand for each, whether it's maize, whether it's rice, all the commodities, all the food items, what is our effective demand? How much do we need to consume for the 200 million people? And how much do we produce? And so what's the shortfall to enable us to know the supply gap? Obviously, because of rising prices and because of border closure, it means that the border has been supplementing the local production. And because the border is closed now, the quantities available for us to buy is limited, and that's affected the price of food.
So it's a supply side. Supply side.
So it's a major issue. And then look at the local things. I have, you heard them say that flood. You read a report that said flood almost wiped away maybe about 25% of the rice.
Yes.
And they're saying that those will not affect the price of food.
Yeah.
Let's hold that somehow, because if supply is limited, it's going to affect the price of the food.
They also, and I want to talk to you about price controls here, because they did also mention that.
About fertilizer.
Yes, Chika, I mean, we've just talked about deregulation of the downstream sector for PMS.
The fertilizer has been one sector, one product in the economy that has been fraught with so much, I had to use the word, fraud and stuff like that. I had to use that. But, just like fuel, just like we had the issue of fuel, it will land at one price. Government have the intention of it landing at one price to the farmers. But middle people, by the time it reaches the farmers, it's multiples of the price. I guess that's what the president is trying to, address.
Yes.
To make sure that the input cost for the farmers is limited, because fertilizer is one major input cost.
Well, I guess the thing is, it seems like there just seems to be a constant struggle between free markets and then trying to cushion the blow for the farmers and users. That seems to be what the government seems to be preoccupied with, but it leads them to control prices too much.
You tie that also to the efficacy of the CBN programs. CBN has done a lot of intervention in agriculture.
Yes.
And I'm one of the first people that would commend CBN, because where you have the gap on the fiscal side, CBN has come in to use the development finance tool to try to bridge the gap.
Yes.
So you hear me call the CBN governor the Minister for Agriculture sometimes and Minister for Investment, because he's taken on all because of the gap in the system. This is supposed to be driven by the government in power and the ministers, looking after those sectors. But my problem is this: what has been the efficacy? I would have loved CBN to come out and say, maize demand supply before was XX ton.
Right.
But our work output now is YY ton.
Right.
And this had led to this increase. Therefore, rice, but we don't have anything like that. So what you always hear is 200 billion, 400 billion, billion, push to this. But
Speaking of which, yes, we have the 374 billion.
For borrowers.
Yes, to smallholder
from 2016 to
present. Yeah, I think we've got.
So CBN will also tell us some like accountability. Issue of accountability. Okay, we give out this money to these farmers. This is the recovery rate.
Yes.
This is the output. And this is the impact in the, and so that we'll know the impact of this. It's not just there throwing out the billions that have been pushing out, but what has been the impact and the output levels. I do believe that the CBN should, do this. I have a feeling that maybe they don't realize that this is very important. I recommend it to them to let us give an idea that, okay, the same thing they have said, they were able to tell us that 2016 to date, they have given this 37-something billion. This 17 billion. They should also let us know that from that to 2016 they've given this is the impact of that. That's the complete report.
Right. Okay, so yes, there it is. So 374 disbursed. Let's see now. They said it was so smallholder farmers under the Yanko Borers program. Impact. They said it was impact on cassava, maize, cotton, rice value chain. But this is what you're talking about. You want to see the data on
because you see, look at that amount. 374. It's precise.
Right.
Not 375. Not 373. It's precise. 374 billion.
Exact amount.
Exact amount.
Yes.
So so it should be precise also and tell us cassava 2016 output for the country excess ton with our intervention is now YY ton.
Right.
Maize the same thing, so that we can know the impact of this, and therefore. And this has led to this, in a moderation in price.
What if we use the Q2 GDP performance?
Let me not cut it short, because you know that CBN banned maize. Suddenly they gave waiver for
companies.
Do you get my point now?
Right.
So is this confusion they're creating? What's the impact of all their policies? If again we're giving people for licenses to go and start importing maize.
Okay, so if we use, I guess the only data we have is if you look at year-on-year growth for agriculture now. So from 2016 through 4.5% 2016, if we go down to Q2 now, 2020 is falling to 1.5. So I mean
the impact on agriculture,
GDP for
GDP growth for that. You can see that.
Right.
is sliding, you know.
Okay, much more so we want more precise data coming from them. Chika, also we talked about, you got your reaction to the MPC decision, decision to cut rates to 100 basis points, 11.5. Interesting enough, the governor of the Reserve Bank of South Africa gave an interview. I thought he gave some very interesting quotes, which we want to put. I want to get your reaction to the quote from the South African government. Okay, so here's his first part of it. It says, no amount of quantitative easing or the reduction of interest rates will reduce the kind of skills this economy needs. You do that through appropriate education policies. And then one more for you, Chika.
Yeah, about power.
Yes. He was talking about the power, the issues with ESCOM. So we've just reopened the economy, yet we had electricity load shedding. You can't solve that problem using monetary policy. That tells you have a structural problem. Chika, I want to compare and contrast with his comments saying that
that's nothing to compare and contrast.
Yeah, there's nothing. Okay,
because economics is the same thing. You know, we'll say, okay, let's see. At the end, the last thing that CBN governor says after his long speech after MPC meeting is what we have therefore decided to do as follows: MPR move to this, liquidity ratio, this, cash reserve ratio. Okay, those have limitations. So cash reserve ratio move from 27 to 100 now. Liquidity ratio move to 100. After a time, what are you going to move it to?
Right. So
the economy requires some structural, changes to make sure that the impact of these CBN policies work. And that's what the guy is saying. That move interest rate to zero. What if there's no power? Give all the loan to pay. And that's what he's saying. That there are fundamental issues that be done in the economy, like Nigeria, to make things work.
Right. Okay. But you see,
we talk about the issues here.
Yes.
Look at Apapa Port. This thing has been on the burner for how many years now? The VP came here, tried to do his own thing.
Right.
Everybody, panel set up. Yet, importers will tell you that it's cost them. The last time Guinness said that over a 1 year period, it's cost them almost 50% increase to move their products from Apapa Port to their warehouse.
Right.
Exporters say that it takes them about 7 days to move a single container to the port. And these are the gateway for economy, in and out. And so what monetary policy do about that?
Excellent point. So
that's the issue.
It's the issue on ground. Okay, so that means it's fiscal. So it goes back to the government to try to
make sure that things work.
Okay, so but then the counterpoint is now, if the government is constrained by funds and isn't able to do that, you borrow.
But all the money that CBN is doing is literally, it's literally printing money.
Right.
This is like literally printing money because it's not backed up by like revenue inflows in dollars or whatever, could you convert to naira? So it's like basically, but they're supporting. They are supporting. But the issue is that what next?
What next? What next to the economy?
Yeah, what next?
To be fair, UK government is printing money. The US, they are printing. Central banks, they're around the world, they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, but let me tell you the issue. The theory of printing money is what? You invest that money you're printing into protected sector economy. So it's an input and output ratio.
You pour in there,
it pays in at the end of the day.
Right.
It turns around, creates value to the economy. Taxes will increase, employment will increase to pay back the loans, the money you have printed. That's about what it is.
See, this is why we have you on the show. Arise business analyst Chika Mbono taking us through, what needs to be done as far as the limitations of monetary policy, and of course, where the fiscal side comes in. Chika, we always appreciate your insights. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You are watching the Global Business Report here on Arise News.